Meteor finally got its own unique. Its aspect scales off of a percentage of your damage rather than a flat amount of damage. But as a standalone skill, as a standalone build, I still think it's pretty dog. It's pretty trash, I'm not gonna lie. It makes me sad. Unless you want to use Meteor to proc Zafal's Corroded Signet procs and use Godslayer's Crown to utilize its pull-in mechanic, so everything is clumped together, gets meteored, and then blows up because of all the burning damage over time procs that proc off Zafal's. Unless you're doing that, Meteor as a standalone build is probably not what you want. Meteor as a support skill, no, still pretty mid, because while you're using the unique, the area in which all the meteorites and meteors land is random, so its single target damage is unreliable and iffy, even when almost entirely fully built. So still pretty mid. But its enchantment, oh my god, its enchantment is so good now. It basically doubles the effectiveness of it. People already use the Meteor enchantment to great effect. Like Crypt loves it, Rob loves it. It's just so good, and it's super fun because you're just raining down Armageddon on everybody. With any other fire build that you want to do. You don't even need to make it a fire build specifically. You can just utilize different parts of Meteor in any build and just put the enchantment on, and it'll just be doing a ton of supplemental damage and help out with your clear speed as well. But if you use it specifically with Firewall, that's amazing. But if you use it with Fireball, that is where things are kind of pretty crazy. It's probably the second best Sorc build this season, right after Conjurations. It's just so much fun. It's just meatballs. You're just throwing meatballs everywhere. Like, it's just a ton of damage. The crit damage to healthy targets affects both Fireball and Meteor on one aspect. So when you put that on your necklace on a maximum roll, that's 60% X damage to healthy targets. While you're running through Nightmare Dungeons, almost everything is getting one shot. And if they're not getting one shot, Meteor comes down and just hits them. Like, it is just meatballs on meatballs on meatballs. Like, it's a meaty build. Like, I don't know what to say. So if you like spaghetti, so stupid. Basically, for this build that you're seeing on screen right now, you're going to want to make it a Fireball build specifically. So you're going to use Staff of Endless Rage, and you're going to use Gloves of the Illuminator, and every other slot and every other aspect slot is pretty much taken up. So you don't really have room for that many. You have room for like maybe one more unique, maybe a ring slot or something, but you don't need it. But if you don't have everything ready for the Fireball build specifically, I would highly recommend using Firewall instead. So pretty much, this is funny. It's like the best Firewall, Fireball, and Meteor build is like the same build, just switching around one or two aspects and one or two rings. Like, this is basically two build guides in one, because I mean, they're basically the same build. You just want to scale as much lucky hit chance as possible. You want to scale a ton of fire damage over time as possible, or you want to deal as much crit damage with fire skills as possible. Like, either way, like, you're scaling fire damage as well. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. It's super fun. It's more fun than it was in season 2, Fireball specifically, and Firewall, to be honest, because basically you don't need Zafal's Corroded Signet in order to make Firewall scale into the late game, as long as you get this helmet, because the helmet just makes a Firewall blast with all the meteors, and everything's just falling, everything's burning. It's just so much burning damage as well. It's kind of crazy. Honestly, these two builds are crazy. It's crazy, honestly. Other than that, there's nothing really new going on. They fixed a couple things in regard to burning damage over time, so that's a bit more powerful. And they also buffed crit damage with fire skills a little bit, so that's a bit more powerful as well. Firewall was more like A tier last season. Fireball was S tier last season. Now they're just both S tier. They just got buffs. Like, it's the only buffs. Oh, including Incinerate. Incinerate now has another alternative to it. If you saw any of those build guides from me, they all still work in the season, and they're even better now. So, I mean, have fun. Like, that's it for me. There's nothing else to explain, right? Yeah, have fun out there.